Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Bases Loaded. The trio is here. And we're just going to start with a bang. The Arizona Diamondbacks, not just sweep,
Let's
beat
go.
the living piss out of the Los Angeles Dodgers in 3 games. I don't even have the words right now. Going into this series, I was like, I think they have a shot. I was like, they can probably do it in 5. If they can take game 1 from Kershaw, I felt really, really good. 6 runs. In the first inning
They
in
took
game,
his soul instead of the game.
he got 1 out. That's absolutely ridiculous. But the biggest telling stat of this series, you had Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, 1 for 21 between the two of them. Mookie has been, I think it's 3 for 41 since the 21 NLCS. The loss is really on them because if they don't play well, the rest of the lineup doesn't do well. It's just what it is.
Like,
yeah, dude, it was.
You got it. No, you're good.
I was gonna say. So, dude, it was amazing. Game 1, like I know you were confident in your Diamondbacks and you picked them in a sweep, and I was like, Brandon's crazy. Like, yeah, if they have a chance to win this, it'll probably be in 4. It might be in 5, but I was actually at a soccer game on Saturday night. So game started, doing a bunch of stuff. All of a sudden, this murmur starts going around the supporters section, and everyone's like, "You guys see what Kershaw's doing?" So everyone pulls out their phone because the game hadn't started yet, and I think at that point it was 4 runs, and I'm like, "What is happening?" I just kept hitting refresh and watching that, and we were celebrating. I'm not gonna lie, I am a petty old man at this point in my life, so we were celebrating in San Diego during game 1. But man, what an unbelievable series, and the fact that you got to be there for game 3, I think that's why we're all here. We're all here to celebrate the Arizona Diamondbacks and their beautiful achievements. It's
For sure.
it's beautiful.
For sure.
Yeah.
First, I want to start off saying, it's cool because we all have so much passion for baseball, but it's really cool that last year, like, we were literally what we all were doing the under over if the Diamondbacks had over 60 wins on that season, and now here we are, like, one week or 1 year later,
Amazing.
and they're in the NLCS. It's cool because you've heard me use the same like wording. They're light years ahead of schedule, if that makes sense.
This is not going to be a 1-year thing.
Yeah.
This
And
one
to be honest
so
with
excited.
you, what's good about it is when you think about it, it's the front office coming together, and it's alignment of the front office coming together and buying in on what the coaching staff is trying to implement. Okay, you don't have a look. Every front office and coaching and training staff, egos get in the way no matter what. But when you have something that's kind of working and trending in the right direction, success happens, and success is contagious across the board. I was going to say this before we came on, but as an Astros fan, growing up, in an old school Astros fan at that, I honestly, even though we've been in the AL for so long now, it feels like we've been over here for a decade. I truly don't feel like we have a real rival. Okay, and I'll even say that even about the Rangers. Being in state, so it's weird to me. But now we've developed these playoff rivals, if that makes sense. So I feel like for a while there, it was for a while it was Boston when we had those grudges in 17, 18, and 19, if that makes sense. Then it moved on to the Yankees, but the Dodgers have always, because we've always wanted that rematch. Both sides have always wanted that rematch. And the Dodgers always come out and look like this juggernaut team that wins 100 games, and then they can't get anywhere or do anything. I legitimately, like watching Kershaw just completely melt down there. It felt like I was watching my 9-year-old son play MLB The Show on beginner mode, to be honest. Like, seriously, I looked over at Rachel because Rachel was being a trooper, she watches playoff baseball with me, and she couldn't even like really process what was going on. And honestly, I know this y'all are gonna look at me dumbfounded, but I legitimately felt sorry for him at one point. And
Yeah.
that's
No,
because
I agree.
honestly, when you really think about it, look, all kidding aside, we know he's a Dodger, but dude, Clayton Kershaw, um, if I could have had him as a lifer on my team, I would have taken him as a lifer on my team. He's a Texas boy, you know.
Agreed.
He was honestly, a lot of people don't know this, but he was committed to my Texas A&M Aggie before he got drafted and went to the MLB route. And it's crazy to see somebody that has done so much and been so dominant during the regular season just completely consistently melt down in the playoffs. Um, but at the same time, too, selfishly, as an Astros fan, it the whole storyline that dissolved 3 years ago, only adds more and more fuel to me that we didn't really have to do anything to get to him like we did in game 5 since we've seen it consistently. But honestly, guys, I was very, very happy for Brandon, you know, because he got to see his team do it to a rival in their division. And what's great is we've come on here year in and year out and said the Dodgers are just keeping the window open. The Dodgers are just keeping the windows on. The Dodgers are just keeping the windows open. And now for the first time, I legitimately like, there are 3 teams, and I'm going to add the San Francisco Giants because I really do feel like they're going to be super active in the offseason. Shohei Ohtani. But anyway, I
Yeah.
really feel like all 3 of those teams are on the cusp of going, hey, we're here. You know what I mean? And the Dodgers have showed us that the pitching across the board, starting, relieving, and closers are the biggest question mark going into next season. And
Yeah.
a majority of their money is literally tied up. And I honestly, they pulled both their top recruits up, or not recruits, I'm sorry, their top prospects up, this year that have had success, but it's like they don't have the luxury. We can go get this guy in the off, or hey, we can pull this young stud up like Walker Bueller and him just come out and being that they've been blessed with. So it's going to be really, really interesting to me. And I don't want to get the cart in front of the horse, but it's going to be interesting to see what this team is like at the start of the season next year.
Yeah, you just brought up
Yeah,
Walker.
it's honestly like
So I was just gonna say real quick, you brought up Walker Bueller. In the middle of August, there was those reports that he'd be ready September 1st. I'm like, that's almost
Mhm.
like
I
trading
went and picked
for
him up in fantasy, dude. Yeah,
like
I went and picked
like
him up in fantasy.
like I was like, oh shoot, if they pick up Walker Bueller, like Walker is an ace. The
Mhm.
only reason he's not an ace is because they got Kershaw.
yeah.
But he unfortunately did not come back. And I think that was a major loss for him because that's literally what this series was. Kershaw was all they had. He shot the bed. They then go with their rookie and Bobby Miller in game 2. He only goes 1 2/3. He doesn't do very much better. And then they had to rely on Lance Lynn. Lance looked good through 2 innings. Lance looks really, really good through 2 innings. Then we saw who Lance Lynn is. He gives up home runs. 4 home runs in the inning in the bottom of the third. A baseball playoff record. No one had ever hit 4 home runs in an inning. That belongs to the Arizona Diamondbacks, and that's what I feel. Like that alone, that accomplishment, just when I saw that made me smile. So I
Yeah.
absolutely loved it. So Chris, you were gonna say?
Yeah, no, so just I mean, talking about the Dodgers overall, like Blake mentioned, when you mentioned Clayton Kershaw, like obviously he's had these playoff struggles, and you do at the end of the day feel for a guy like that. But it's one of those things where I think this year, I think it's just father time, and I think the fact that he looked so good early in the season, he just seemed to never get right towards the end of the season, and unfortunately, like there's a lot of talk. Is he coming back? Is he not coming back? Like, it's going to be very fascinating to see what Clayton Kershaw does, because that guy is competitive, but do you want to try and come back and do this for another full season? Can your body do that? Do you want what happened in the playoffs to be the lasting memory of you? Like, he's got some very interesting decisions to make. And, like, overall, I mean, talking about their starting pitching, the fact that they had it was 6, 7 innings overall that they maybe got out of their starting pitching, like that killed them early. And it was like 27, the Dodgers had 27 at bats, or 27 innings of at bats in the series, and 3 of them they were not down by more than 2 runs. Like, that is just crazy. Like, this wasn't just a series win for Arizona. This was a series beatdown.
Mm-hmm.
It was spectacular to watch. And I mean, during the 4 home runs, like, I know it was very funny because me and Blake were messaging you, and I feel like the TBS feed was like 15, 20 seconds behind, because every time we would message you, you'd be like, wait. And when
I said it for the Gabby home run. Blake's like,
just watch.
Blake's like, oh yeah, that's foul. And then Blake goes, ball don't lie. And I'm like, Blake, watch the next pitch. And then he just goes
next pitch.
It was so great.
And that's the deepest part of the ballpark. Like, that's just when
and what's funny about it is I
you,
said ball don't lie.
I mean, this Arizona Diamondbacks team.
I said ball don't lie because it went out on my stream, if that makes sense. So I said ball don't lie because it was the next pitch and the ball went out. That's why I said that. That's why I said that.
Also, the signal inside the stadium with 41,000 people is very, very slow. It was very hard for me to, like, there were a lot of times where I would send a message in the chat and it would, in terms of the thread, it would show up before a question Chris had asked.
Yeah. That's how it is at Minute Maid too, dude. Like
it's fine when they're like half full.
Yeah.
Like when it's half full.
Minute Maid ever.
You guys don't have Wi-Fi in your ballpark? What is wrong with you guys?
No,
but it doesn't work.
It's very, very bad when it's full. There were 41,000 people there. Last night. I was impressed. Like, they said sellout.
Yes, I will say.
I thought maybe just upper section was pretty much full too.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
now I will say this. I'm gonna backtrack.
The shots on TV and stuff look great.
Yeah, I'm gonna backtrack and ride Chris's coattails on something. You were talking about Kershaw, like what's next with Kershaw and stuff like that. I know we're gonna split hairs on this, but I wanted to put this in. I think that the Dodgers are stupid enough to literally trot him back out, and if they know that he's not gonna be like the starting ace, they will do the whole Adam Wainwright farewell tour for him. I guarantee it. I guarantee you that's how they treat him. Now, as a lover of baseball, I could see them like him actually like deserving something like that. But
he's not in during the regular season. He's not as bad as Waino had been.
I know, but maybe they just do that, like, Chris said, like, heaven forbid he go out there and get hurt or something like that. Maybe like they announce like, hey, like, I think this is my last season or something like that. I don't know. It's weird because
I do have a prediction on Kershaw. The prediction is the fact that I think he's going to come back in July, because I think it's going to be something where he just pitches the second half of the season just so his body can stay right. And if the Dodgers have proven anything, they can only win when there's 60 games in the regular season. So I think it just helps everyone overall.
For sure. And I think too, at the same time, like with you, staying healthy for a full 162, regardless if you're an everyday player or not, dude, going out there and throwing 6 to 7 innings every 5 days, that's a lot of work, so the older you get, the harder it is just to have your body recover. Forget the strength and conditioning, forget the velocity and having your pitches located. It's hard to bounce back every 5 days to be ready to toe that rubber. I tell the kids that I coach, look, that pitching mound, you can be on the top of the mountain on that mound, or you can be in the lowest in the valley on that mound. That place out there, that pitching rubber is the highest of the highs in sports, and it's the lowest of the lows in sports. And I will literally stand by that across anything. The pressure that you feel on that mound is like nothing that you will feel in any other sport.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say about
It's baseball. It's the loneliest sport, you know?
yeah.
You're always going to be that in baseball. It's one guy that controls so much of the game, and you can talk about a quarterback in the NFL, but this is a lot different. Like you
For sure.
control every aspect. Like it's bonkers.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say about this series is fuck Bob Costas. Fuck Bob Costas. That was the worst I have ever seen. Like he couldn't hide his homerness for LA.
He was mad his team lost.
Like any big play the Diamondbacks made. Oh, they made that play. Dodgers get a line drive single to center. He loses his shit. I'm like, oh my God. I'm just glad that I don't have to listen to him. At the NLCS will be on TBS, so it's the guys that are probably doing Braves and Phillies right now. Brian Anderson's really good. I like Brian Anderson. Francoeur, not as big of a fan, but no. Just gotta wait to see who we play. My preferred pick is the Braves, only because of their pitching is not as deadly as the Phillies. Outside of Strider, I don't fear any of their starting pitching. Phillies, you got Wheeler and Nola, which I think go really well in tandem with Gallen and Kelly. I'm very curious to see. That's why I want this. If the Phillies make it, I want it to go 5 because I think Wheeler would pitch game 5, which then he probably wouldn't pitch again till game 3 in the NLCS, which can be a big thing.
I mean, dumb question. Who has home field?
Phillies.
Is it the Phillies because they had 90?
Yes.
They had 90, right? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. I just didn't want to be wrong on that. But, I mean, I think it's got to happen. It's 3-. Currently right now, as we're recording the pod, is 3-1 in the 7th, you know. I just think, you know, it's so hard for these teams that have this first round bye, you know, to go out there and beat a team that's played 2 more games than they have, you know, to have all that time off. I mean, you see it across the board
really
that
hard.
the Orioles
It's really
lost. You see it across the board that, you know, I mean, look, the Braves are going to lose, you know, and now you got the Dodgers that have lost. It's like almost every 1 and 2 seed. Oh wait, the Astros won. And believe it,
2 years in a row.
And if you look at it last year too, they swept the Mariners and waited an extra 6 days to play the Yankees. And then they swept the Yankees and waited an extra 8 days to play the Phillies.
Those excuses.
And then they won a trophy after that. That's kind of strange. How did that happen?
I cannot stand. I was like, we need to change. I'm like, first of all, y'all, every sport, this happens. You have teams that dominate in the regular season that just don't do well in the playoffs.
For sure.
It happens this is not something new. Y'all are just mad because Diamondbacks only won 86 games and they clinched by losing to the Astros, and they're now in the NLCS. Because they knew they had a better shot to play Brewers first.
Mm-hmm.
And they did.
Well, it's going to be cool because, you know, it was almost like last season, if you look at it, our last series was against the Phillies. Okay? Last series was against the Phillies, and that was a World Series matchup. Our last series this year was against the Diamondbacks.
You know, it's going to be a World Series matchup.
And we saw what happened. You know what I mean? I'll dust off the broom again.
We'll see.
No, honestly, it's gonna be entertaining. You know what I mean? Because look, you have 2 teams potentially in the NLCS. Obviously, if the Phillies hold on to this, that have caught lightning in a bottle. Okay. But then what's really cool about it is you have two teams that are AL West division rivals, I guess you can say, interstate rivals at this point now. And
Rivals.
you have well, it's kind of
He said
one-sided
rivalry.
rival.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of one-sided. The grass.
Didn't Houston win that season series
Yes,
by
we
a
did.
landslide? Like it wasn't like that's why they won the division.
But at the end of the day, they have caught up, and I said this, Brandon, last week when you weren't on here. I mean, that's what I meant 2 seasons ago when I said, I was more concerned with the Rangers than I was the Mariners at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. And what it does show too is just like you guys, we saw what the Rangers were with the worst coaching that they could have had at the time. Okay. Bad manager decisions. Simeon and Seager were hurt for half the season. They had 0 pitching. And then what happened? Chris Young takes over in the front office. They go get Bruce Bochy, which is crazy that man's been sitting on a couch for 3 years, and then comes in and like literally changes the culture overnight. It's going to be interesting. You know what I mean? I try not to think about it, but at the same time, like I told you guys, I know this sounds spoiled fan, but I'm so used to being in high pressure playoff positions and things like that honestly last night when the game was 3-2, my wife was like sitting on the edge of the couch on every pitch, and I'm just like sprawled out,
was
like
me.
laying back.
Oh, that was me from the 7th. When then the Dodgers got 2 in the 7th, that was me the rest of the game. Like every pitch, I'm like, God, please. I'm
So
like, if they can
so
take
confident.
a game, I was like, just put them out now. Like, just put them down now.
Yeah.
Like, don't give them that life. That's why I was like, when we won those first 2, I'm like, dude, we could win this at home.
Yeah.
And it was so great that they did.
Yeah. So pivot real quick. I don't know what happened to the Orioles. I legitimately have no explanation on it other than the Rangers just had an offensive onslaught and they literally located. But the biggest thing that they did is they attacked. Okay. Same thing the Astros did with Twins pitching. They attacked, but literally when they hit, they didn't miss. I will say this. I'm going to chalk up, even though they're a young squad, I'm going to chalk up some inexperience just on the Orioles that you can kind of hang a hat on. It's not an excuse, but those guys just got punched in the jaw and they didn't know how to answer back on it. Unfortunately, hats off to the Rangers though. And I mean that as a team that's going in to compete with them, because
Atlanta and Philly just got interesting. Bases loaded for the Braves.
They
man.
But 2 outs though. So.
It's gonna be interesting, but I honestly I don't
and
know.
Your NL MVP's up. Oh, let's see how this goes.
So. But yeah, what you were saying, Blake, about the Orioles, like it was a really fun series. Like game 1 was very entertaining, and it just like it felt like when Texas got hot in that second game, like the Orioles just deflated. And I mean, like we said about the Diamondbacks, I feel like the Orioles kind of peaked earlier than we expected. And I mean, they've got obviously an incredible young core of talent. And I think the big X factor is Baltimore is, will ownership spend money? Because we've heard the stories of them not wanting to do that. So I hope they do everything they can to actually keep this core together and continue to build, because I think they'll be very good again next year. I think this was like it's one of those, glass half empties, but you've got to say, like, yeah, you might have gotten your ass kicked, but you had a fantastic season. You went a year and a half without getting swept in a series. Like, come back next year.
That's what's crazy.
You have the talent to compete. Yeah, and really quickly about the Rangers, like I'm really happy for them. I mean, you look at all the San Diego fingerprints on there, and you've got Chris Young who pitched with us. You've got Bochy as the manager. You've got Will Venable as his assistant manager, who apparently,
he's gonna be somewhere else.
They're gonna score.
Nope.
Are you kidding me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, right. That's
No,
what
you're good.
happens
I
when
was
the
gonna say,
game's live.
Or how did he
Will
not
Venable said
run
a couple
on
days
that?
ago that he is not taking interviews or he's not taking other jobs and
Yeah.
he's going to stay in Texas because I think he knows Bochy's time is short, so he
Oh
is
yeah,
ready to be the next manager there. So they've got a really nice future in Texas too, and it's
I
going to
didn't
be
think
fun to
about
watch them
that.
play the Astros. You know, it's like you look at these division rivals and it's like, yeah, it could be one sided, but I mean, look at some of these other series. I mean, look at Padres Dodgers last year. They kicked their shit in all year, and then when the playoffs came in, like it was a different story. So it's
The
gonna be
only
fun to see what
the
happens in the
the
AL.
the only Achilles heel for the Rangers is literally they have too much money tied up in 3 different players. And I've said it
Yeah.
multiple times on here. They've done this year in and year out for decades there. And you know, if Simeon goes down or Seager goes down on top of not being able to have DeGrom pitch 5 games a year for them, they're going to be in trouble.
You think Scherzer pitches this series?
I think they throw him out there, and I think we murder him. I think his arm's
He
dead.
hasn't pitched in
I
what,
think his arm's dead. And
2
look,
months?
though, but listen to this. They did the same thing with us when we had the series on the road. They threw Uvalde out there, and we threw up 5 runs in him in 2 innings. Okay, I think that they're going to
Yeah,
do it.
but
Just
postseason Evaldi's a different beast.
well, and I do credit you on that, yeah. But at the same time, too, I don't think that. And look, nobody is, but I don't even think that Uvalde's at 70%. Look, his pitches did hit, and he did locate, but the velo and the break wasn't there with the crispness of what the Uvalde we are used to seeing. It's going to be interesting. Okay, I'm not gonna underestimate them, but it's going to be fun, and that's what I'm going to leave it at.
Yeah. So about Baltimore, just like we've said, or I think it was Chris said, they weren't supposed to be here yet. Like in 2021, both the Orioles and the Diamondbacks lost over 100 games.
It's crazy.
The Diamondbacks went 52 and 110. These were literally the 2 worst teams after the 2021 season. One is in the NLCS, and one won over 100 games. And they haven't really, the roster's changed a little bit, but it hasn't changed like there wasn't any big signing or big trade that was done for either one of these teams. And I think because Baltimore didn't make a splash for a starting pitcher at the deadline was a big factor. So I saw Chris's reaction, so I'm going to wait for this next pitch.
It was close. It was close, boys.
There's a reason they have that guy in center. He can't hit for nothing, but he can cover some ground.
There you go.
That's a bummer. And Baltimore has the number 1 prospect that's probably going to be playing next year too. And Jackson Holiday. By the way, your dad still did not touch for home plate.
Never forget.
So they got probably AL Rookie of the Year in Gunnar Henderson. They have, depending on who you ask, a top 3 catcher in all of Major League Baseball in Adley Rutschman. But what they need to do is they need to go out and get an actual ace. Go get Shohei. Go spend that money, Baltimore. Go ahead and go get Shohei. So, and I think what we saw from Texas is what we've seen all year. They had peaks and valleys where they literally looked like the best offense, and they looked like that so far through the playoffs. But will they come back down when they face a team that has had their number all year? It is entirely possible. Verlin is scheduled to go game 1, right?
Yeah.
Because he hasn't pitched in a hot minute. Yeah, all right.
He's been too busy dropping F-bombs and paying off the FCC.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. The best part was,
by the way.
The best part was, I wasn't even here half the year. That was the best part, dude. I loved it, man.
It was great.
I wasn't even here half the year.
So, yeah, we covered. Yeah, I think Baltimore. What's funny is you had the AL East that probably was the best division in Major League Baseball, didn't win a single playoff game this year and had 3 teams in it.
Yeah.
How insane is that?
Isn't it the Red? No, the Yankees have won the last postseason game for the AL East, right?
Yeah.
I believe I saw that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we really didn't get into Astros Twins too much. Like I know
No.
it was light work, like it always is, Blake. But I thought it was an enjoyable series overall. Like Jordan is just unreal,
Don't
man.
pick-
Unreal.
Rangers, if there's anything you learn from that series, do not pitch to that man.
Do you
Like,
wanna
I don't
know-
know why you would. If you
That-
do,
that's the line. But guys, why are people pitching to him?
I guess they're worried about
Tucker.
Yeah,
Because you
like
can't pitch around anybody through this 1-9. And that's-
I think outside the
it.
top 4, you can, but
Super.
yeah,
Okay.
like you got Altuve, Bregman, Jordan, and Kyle Tucker. Like that is, if you think,
Yeah, because
I
Jose
think,
Abreu didn't hit 3 home runs in the ALDS.
yes. Sorry, well, it's 'cause he
Also
hadn't done
unbelievable. Remember how we started the season?
awful. Like didn't hit a home run until like June.
Mm-hmm. He was just saving it, guys. But no, listen,
Saving them.
I'm gonna go on my little rant, my little homer rant right now. I loved it, and like Brandon said, the announcers literally the whole time, no matter what the Astros could do, it was always twins.
It's
It's
because it's Joe Davis. He's the play-by-play guy for the Dodgers. So yes,
Like literally, we literally have like the Astros
Awful.
get shut down like 13 batters in a row, but at the same time, like he's like, that's the 13th Astros set down, and I'm like, dude, we're literally like doing the same thing on the other side too as well. It was enjoyable. The one thing that I'm going to say is JV was on target. You know, it was weird to go out there and see Neris flutter and fizzle out in the first game. It did kind of make me nervous that JV went out there and was basically like, are you sure you want to pull me? And then like literally we almost gave the game away right there when we brought in Neris, but Neris bounces back. The one thing that I'm really interested in is I told you guys the script was flipped for me in game 2. I thought Valdez was going to go out there and pitch 7 and dominate like he always does. And, you know, Lopez, dude, hats off to him. You know, I think his season ERA was like 3.66. And when I was looking at his stats, I was like, oh, dude, this is gonna be us. We're gonna go up real quick 2-0. And the bad thing about it is we were hitting the guy. They just weren't driving the ball. They weren't barreling the ball. Everything felt like it was a pop-up. And, you know, the Twins did what they needed to do. They got the job done. Didn't we go to Minnesota? And it's like, oh, Sonny Gray, he won 13 Cy Youngs in a row because he's got this sweeper. And he punched out 13 Astros, but nobody would tell you that they only lost that game.
I was wrong.
2-3.
Joe Davis was on Rangers.
Yeah.
Orioles.
So
Sorry.
he punched out 13 Astros the last time they played this season, but it was a 3-2 game that went into extras. And we didn't have Altuve or Michael Brantley play that game. But the sweeper wasn't sweeping, and, you know, we all know what happened. You know what I mean? Jordan's not
was
human.
that they said it was like the first sweeper that he had given up a home run on since like
the whole
July of
season.
2022 or something like that?
And it happened
It was
twice.
like 400 times. Yeah,
Yeah, it was twice. The Abreu and the Jordan homer were on sweepers. And then you fast forward to game 5. You know what? You know, and I almost texted it to you. You know, the sad thing about it is the Twins were attacking. I feel like they pulled their starter in game 4 a little too early, but it's almost like they figured something out. And when Paddock actually came in, Chris,
Paddock was good.
I was gonna say it.
He actually attacked the zone, and making the breaking ball and the curveball dive on that lineup was something that we exposed. But at the same time, the hitting coach is going to cover in the next series, if that makes sense. The damage was obviously already done. You know, Urquidy went out there for us to give him the ball, you know, and start with the way that he struggled this season with injuries and consistency. For him to be the playoff pitcher that he has been in the past and go out there and toe that rubber and give us 5 2/3 and he retired 12 batters in a row at one point. 6 punch outs. That's huge right there. Because a lot of people we make fun of. Because a lot of people were like saying that it was either going to be Urquidy or JP France that game. And I said it before Dusty had made a decision. I was like, well, you got to go, even though JP has had a great season and consistent season, you have to go with the veteran that's been there in that situation. And he made the right call going to Urquidy. And then the bullpen did their job, and how dominant the bullpen has done their job. I mean, dude, freaking Abreu, man. Like, Brian Abreu hasn't given up a run since July 15th, guys.
That's
Like, he
insane.
has not given up a run since July 15th.
I remember when you were like this when he would pitch.
Oh, dude. And I will literally come on here and eat crow on that, because he literally came into existence this time last year, if you guys remember right. Every time Abreu came in, I was super, super nervous. But what's the craziest thing is when you really think about it, somebody tweeted out, and a national beat writer, and I couldn't agree more with him. Like, Abreu is the best closer in the league that isn't a closer, and that's been the Astros recipe, is having a guy that's a setup guy in the 8 that can literally toe the rubber and almost act like a closer when then you bring your closer in the 9th inning.
But could he be the closer? Sometimes
I think
there are a lot of guys that are good in the 8th.
for sure.
And
I'm
they
with
go
you.
to the 9th and they
I'm
just
with you.
they can't do it. And the only way you're gonna know is you have to have them be your closer.
Mm-hmm. I will take
right
back
now. Probably is not the best time to try that.
Yeah, I will take back. I came on here and said, I was never nervous during the whole game. The one part that I was nervous on the last game was literally, y'all are looking at the TV. What am I missing?
Bryce almost hit one out. He just hit it way too high.
Back to what I'll say, the only thing that I was nervous about was literally, did y'all see Presley take the stumble? He caught his cleat and literally ate it.
It landed on his wrist or whatever.
And when he landed awkward, I was like, "Oh, please, God, no!" What I mean?
But he struck out the side to end
yeah, but then he still struck out the side, and I thought it was hilarious. Kepler's reaction. Nobody wants to get rung up on a strike 3 when the game's on the line, especially a playoff game at home. But when I saw his reaction, I was like, man, he's going to feel really, really stupid when he goes back and watches tape on that, because that was such a beautiful pitch to get the punch out right there. And man, I made the same reference earlier today. It feels like we're playing MLB The Show on Dynasty mode. It's such a blessing that I will never take for granted, being alive in the golden era of Astros baseball. We're heading to our 7th ALCS appearance. And if we don't look past the Rangers and get the job done, we will make our 3rd World Series appearance in the last 3 years. And that's something that I'm honestly really, really excited and proud of, because you know how it is. We're all in the same boat. I feel like we root for teams that are modest and always on the outside looking in half the time. So to actually have my beloved Astros be something for almost a decade has been something that I'm going to cherish for a long time.
Yeah, what? It's been every year since 2017. Was that the first year?
7 years.
God, that's unfortunately. I mean, not unfortunately. Winning 2 World Series in a 7-year span. That's really impressive. Some people say 2017 shouldn't count, but I'm like, hey, at least they played a full season.
Right.
At least they played
it did what half the team were already doing in the first place.
So since we know what that matchup is, let's go ahead and preview the ALCS. So we got Battle of the AL West, best of 7. Thank God. I don't like best. If there is one change that I would make, it would make the divisional round a best of 7.
Nah.
It feels
Brandon, you need best of 5.
Yeah. We got to think about pitching at this point. By the time you get to the World Series, dude, like you would have no arms left.
Just a bunch of Scherzer sitting around.
I just want more baseball. So I can
if you wanted it that way, then I would shrink it back down.
To what
that used to be.
I think make it instead of 162, make it 150.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about leaving the extra wild card teams out.
No, because we wouldn't have made it this.
Well,
Actually, I think they would have tried a little bit harder the last week.
you still would have
Uh,
got swept. But anyway,
yes, because our offense didn't show up, and then we decided, oh, it's playoff time. Let's hit some home runs because that's all they're doing right now, which is weird because that's not what they do. They
Right.
do not score. Diamondbacks do not score runs by the home run in the regular season, but they're doing it in
we
the
get it.
playoffs.
We get it. Now back to the Astros. Okay,
No.
Astros Rangers
Okay.
predictions.
Astros Rangers. I believe game 1 is Sunday. Game 2 is Monday. Correct. I think this. I think this is going 7. I think this is going 7, and I don't trust. I don't trust Max because I think Max is going to play, and I don't think he's going to look good because he hasn't pitched in 2 months, or he's going to throw one inning and they're going to see, oh, he's not ready, and that's going to be it. The Rangers bullpen is not good. We saw near the end of the season how many games they lost because the bullpen. Chapman is still super wild.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take Houston in 7. Blake's probably gonna say Houston in 5 or Houston in 4.
Go ahead, Chris.
Okay, so I don't know, Blake. I don't want to go against you, but at the same time, like
Hey, I can
there's something
respect
about
anything,
Bochy in
man.
the postseason. I know there's something about Bochy in the postseason, and even though we're gonna have a combined like 150 years managing in this championship series, like I just this Rangers team, like they've got something right now, and yeah, obviously they choked away the division, and consistently they were decent all year, and I think one thing that could be interesting. Rangers are out of the bullpen. Screw him being a starter. Like use him for an inning because that angry man, I feel like, could go out there and throw decently enough for one inning of baseball if he knows that's the situation he's in. But honestly, I think the Rangers jump on them in game 1. I think they get this momentum. I think the spark goes, and I think they win this thing in 6.
Yeah, I can respect that. And I know this is going to sound weird, and this is going to be one of those weird things, but the way that Tampa and Baltimore play, I think if the shoe is reversed and we go through that, and the Rangers are the number 2 seed, I see us being with the same hot streak against the way that both of those teams put up. I look. This is such a it's not a unique answer, I guess you could say. It's just such a typical answer. Look, I feel like we're either going to go out there and sweep them or it's going to go 6. And I think it's because we've played each other so much this season. But I do think that, as cheesy as it sounds, the playoff experience and the ice in our veins at the back end of our bullpen is going to do wonders. So if the games are close, I'm giving us the advantage just on not only the experience, but how well-rounded our bullpen is and set up. It's going to be really interesting because I feel like our starters are in better positions right now too, as well. There's a lot of inconsistency across their starting pitching and stuff right now. I know they've actually gone out and just looked decent, but the offense has been the thing that has been on the hot streak, obviously, for the Rangers, and they've been hitting the ball. Like I said, we have a lot of veteran guys, and I think a guy that gets overlooked a lot is the heartbeat behind the plate and the backbone behind the plate, and Martin Maldonado. And there is no other guy in baseball that does as much homework and studies batters' weaknesses. And guys, he knows this team like the back of his hand. It's going to be really fun and really interesting. Like I said, I could see us going out there and sweeping this, or I could see us winning in 6. My official prediction is Astros in 5.
Yeah, and that sounds.
We're all
about
shocked. We're all shocked.
right. We're all shocked. I think the Astros top 3 starting pitchers are better than the Rangers because the Rangers number 3, if they don't have Scherzer, is Montgomery, Evaldi, and Andrew Heaney. I wouldn't feel great
We
about that.
already know Heaney because he's in Anaheim for
Yeah.
forever, on top of being with the Rangers. And I'm with
and
you too. And
then-
I think
Yeah.
the games after that, I think the bullpen's already spent after that. So even if they sneak a close one out, I give advantage us in the deeper games.
Yeah, and then Houston, you got Verlander, Valdez, Javier. I think that's a better
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 start. You don't a lot of times you don't see teams go with a 4th starter unless like there's no off days.
For sure.
Like,
Will you guys do me a favor real quick before I forget? Next year, when I have a healthy Garcia and a healthy McCullers, if I ever talk crap about them, tell me to shut up because we really, really miss them. And honestly,
I mean, imagine
I
if you
would
had
probably-
them at this point.
dude, McCullers
dude, yeah,
hasn't
that's what I'm
pitched
saying. That's what I'm saying. Like if we
since
had
what,
them,
21?
he pitched last year.
Okay.
He got blown up. Remember, he got blown up by the Phillies in Game 3. Look, if we had them, dude, I'd be talking like Ric Flair right now. Okay,
You'd be
Like-
talking so
like-
much back.
like, but it's humbled me, you know. And I think I kind of think that's why I've been so chill this playoffs is because last year there was so much hype because we had won so many games. Same thing with the year before. We had 100 wins 2 years in a row. So you didn't want to be that team that fizzled out. This season, like I'm honestly, and I will say this humbly, I'm honestly happy and blessed that we won the division. You know, you have Astro fan on here saying, shut up, act like you've been there and blah, blah, blah. We're World Series guys, but that's the only time we actually celebrate. And I'm like, no, you can celebrate these moments. This team struggled all season long. We didn't have Altuve for almost, 80 games? Same thing with Jordan. You know, these guys, like, they scrapped the whole season to keep within one game and won it on the final day. Like, the Rangers were in the lead. What did I say last week, Chris? Like 155 days out of the year last year, or this last season. And the Astros, when we did pull a lead, we were only in the lead for like 24 days. So for them to actually win it on the last day, in the last game of the season, that's something that I'm proud of this team. You know, and obviously it has put a lot of wind in ourselves too going into the playoffs. So look. This series is going to be really, really fun and really, really entertaining. But I'm always going to ride with my boys. But I think experience and the whip behind the plate and the veteran arms that we have at starting is going to win us this game on top of the offense and the 1 through 9 that we already have that's hot.
I think with the Rangers offense, it's a lot like with the Dodgers. If you can shut down those first 2 guys and Simeon and Seager, I think the rest of the lineup won't do very good. Like they set the table, they drive that entire offense. They both have been. Corey Seager's been hot like literally all year. Some say he is AL MVP. I still think it's Shohei, even though Shohei didn't literally play the last month of the season. I still think it. Shohei is AL MVP.
They gave it to Trout when he missed more games. I don't see how you couldn't, especially with how dominant he was on the mound. So I'm with you on that.
So moving on to the NL side, I'm going to be stressed as a mother during this series. Doesn't matter who we play. If the Braves somehow squeak it out here and win Game 4 and force a Game 5, that offense is deadly. Phillies have a deadly offense, and Wheeler and Nola just bring it to a whole nother level in the postseason. They have the playoff experience over the Diamondbacks, but the Diamondbacks right now are very everyone is feeling really confident. They have a lot of chemistry with the team right now, so they're all playing very, very well. I didn't really talk about it, but Gallen's at bat to Freddie Freeman there in game 2, where he literally froze him on that curveball. Like, that was a masterclass in how to pitch. Like,
I'm still really disappointed he didn't jump in the pool, but anyway.
Don't worry, that is Corbin's job and Alex Thomas. Obviously, I'm gonna go with the Diamondbacks on this. I think it's going 7 though, and I'm gonna be stressed as all hell. So it's gonna, y'all better be ready later in that series for just me to just be like, oh my god, like I'll be on like pins and needles for every pitch.
Brandon, you're taking the exact route that I took last year. So welcome to the roller coaster. But
Right?
honestly, like I know you're not going to like this, but yes, I was a Diamondbacks fan this series, but I don't need to see another NLCS team in the World Series. So I'm going to take whoever wins this Braves Phillies series. I do honestly think one.
So
thing
are you
that's
going to
gonna
do
be
what
really-
you said why you picked the Dodgers last week?
No, I picked the Dodgers last week as a jinx. So
Dude,
I mean, it
I
makes
know.
sense, you know.
So are you
don't
picking?
change it. It's Chris has got the KOD, dude.
I know.
I love
So
that he
Chris,
picked the Rangers. Like, I honestly can go buy my World Series tickets with actual like faith already. Okay, like I don't mean this. I don't
one
mean
thing I
this
was gonna
ugly,
say
but
really
I
quick,
mean it when I tell you that you got the KOD, dude. You got the kiss of death, man. That's like your wrestling finish move is the KOD, dude.
It's all I know. But I think one thing that's going to be really interesting is that weird start time for Arizona's game 3 game when it's what 3 o'clock local time,
2.
2 o'clock local time. I think that's going to kind of have a big factor. But I
Probably
just
gotta have
I just
shadows.
think these.
They're probably gotta have shadows out there that you can't see the baseball.
No, the roof will be closed. It'll be fine. But honestly, like this Arizona team has everything in the world to be proud of what they've done this year.
For sure.
They've
For sure.
they've played amazing all year. They've obviously gone into the playoffs. They went into Milwaukee and handled business. They dominated a Dodger team that they probably had no business dominating, but they did it. But I still think they're a year away, and
Right.
that actually is what scares me
Right.
more than anything is
Yeah.
the fact that we've got to now deal with this juggernaut next year too. But I just think if the Phillies come through, which it looks like is most likely going to happen, like there's something about postseason baseball in Philly, man. This stadium, this atmosphere, it absolutely rules. I know the
Especially
Astros
when
had
you
no
no hit them.
problem with it, but it's there's something special about that team, and I just think if they win again, they're going back to the World Series, and who knows, we might have a rematch.
Match. And I like Phoenix. And I really want to go there in the fall because I ain't no wuss. I'll go jump in the pool after game 4. Brandon's really intently reading something. No, look. I like Philly. I like the Braves. We all know that I made the Braves Astros prediction at the beginning of the year. It looks like it's got to fall flat. I did predict Philly to win this series, even though I had made that World Series prediction at the beginning of the season. But I don't want to see another Phillies Astros dance off, if that's what you want to call it, which is really strange because like is the tiebreaker because I'm pretty sure that we have the same record, which is super strange. Yes, we literally have the same record. So I don't even know how that is. Hey, Brandon, look it up. What's the tiebreaker when we have the same record in the World Series?
No.
But anyway, I don't want to see the same thing that we saw last year again. I would love to see fresh blood in there, and I'm going to do it for the pod. I'm going to ride with the Diamondbacks, and I'm going to say I'm with Brandon. It goes all 7.
I would like to change my mind because Bryce Harper's elbow just exploded, so I will be taking the Diamondbacks.
Change your mind. What happened? What I missed?
I don't know. I looked down and all of a sudden Harper's doing this and the team is surrounding him. Like
It was a close play at first, and I think the runner ran into his elbow.
Oh, the runner kneed him in the elbow. Yeah, jeez.
Oh no,
He's dead. He's dead on arrival.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we're going to the World Series now. We're going to the World Series because Philly's going to finish this game, and they're
that
not
can
going
be
to
a rally. That can be a rally, dude.
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, it's dead. It's dead. And that's just throwing on.
We'll see though. You know,
Hasn't
honestly,
he, like, stupid question? He's had surgery. He's had Tommy John on his arm, right? Am I mistaking that?
just had. That's
Yeah.
why he's playing first base. Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, guys,
Hold on,
I
hold on,
really do want an Astros Diamondbacks World Series. I think it would be fantastic
dead.
commentary, and
He's
just to
dead.
watch the two of you guys go back and forth will be worth it
Will
alone.
we be back and forth? It's one-sided, dude. Come on.
Yeah, that attitude right there is what I'm gonna have.
One-sided, dude.
Is
I
what
probably
I'm gonna.
won't even watch the games, to be honest with you.
You are full of it. So
I'll go to
every-
the game and probably just watch like Netflix or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh
Just
my
be
God,
like,
this
check in.
All right, everyone. We appreciate everyone for tuning in for our divisional series review and our league championship series preview. We make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All of our socials are in the description box below. See you next
It's trophy season, guys. It's trophy season.